Hi there guys, it's Adam Martin here, and welcome back to another installment of the Now Review. And this time we've got a brand new release to take a look at, another in the Millennium series, which basically acts as the yearbook series that's been covering the 80s and 90s, but as we headed into the 21st century, they clearly wanted to give this one a new title, a new moniker. So we have this, the second of these releases, Now Millennium 2002 and 2003. The last release covered 2000 and 2001, was very excited about that release, and equally I'm excited about this one because, you know, at that age when I was growing up, that was like when I was getting exposed to the pop music of the day, so I'm sure there's going to be a lot of tunes on here that are going to hold a great bit of nostalgia for me. As always, we'll be taking a look at the special edition for CD, and in this case the 2LP vinyl edition. So let's start with the CD, as we always do. So let's looking at the cover. The last one went with a nice hue of reds. This one has gone for blue, which is one of my favorite colors, so I think this looks great. I love how on the left hand side you start with like a darker blue that then progressively gets lighter going to the right. It's like, when I always say that with like the gradients and stuff, it always sounds like such a simple design cue in a way, like it's very bare bones, but it can actually have such an impact. And I love the fact that the Now logo, like the whole titling, is in silver. It's got that lovely blue glossy trim around it as well that doesn't blend in enough that you don't see it. It's just a really sleek, really nicely designed cover, very symbolic of the early 2000s and a lot of the designs that were coming out then, so really big fan of that. As you can see, as always with the special edition CDs that Now puts out, the spine is a bit thicker, it's a bit more solid, it's styled more like a CD book as opposed to just like a cardboard case, so it's something a bit sturdier. But before we delve inside, let's flip it on over and have a look at that all-important track list. So, we begin in the year 2002 on CD1. We're going with George Michael and Freak. We've got Elvis Presley versus JXL with A Little Less Conversation, which was a massive hit. I do remember that one. You have Girls Aloud with Sound of the Underground, their debut hit, and a smashing one it was too. Britney Spears with Overprotected. Kylie Minogue with In Your Eyes. She was in like her first renaissance back then. Nelly and Kelly Rowland with Dilemma, big ballad, big tune that is. Mary J. Blige with No More Drama. Missy Elliott with Work It. Pink, Just Like a Pill, just shows you how long Pink's been going on all these years. Appleton with Fantasy. Sugar Babes with Round Round, great hit from them. Holly Valance with Kiss Kiss. Last Ketchup with the Ketchup Song. Gotta love the Ketchup Song. Sophie Ellis-Bextor with Murder on the Dance Floor, one of her biggest hits. Anastasia with One Day in Your Life. Blazing Squad with Crossroads. Oh, Blazing Squad. That hit number one, but what an odd group they were. Atomic Kitten with The Last Goodbye. A1 with Caught in the Middle. Ronan Keating with If Tomorrow Never Comes. Daniel Bedingfield with If You're Not the One. And Celine Dion rounds off the first disc with A New Day Has Come. So 21 tracks there from 2002. CD2 also focuses on 2002, and we begin with Robbie Williams and Feel, one of his better ballads, I think. Coldplay and In My Place. Oasis with Stop Crying Your Heart Out. Was that 2002? I always thought that was earlier. Doves with There Goes the Fear. Express 2 featuring David Byrne with Lazy. Liberty X and Just a Little. Brandy with What About Us. Christina Milian with AM to PM, or as some would say, Am to Pum. Pure Tone with Addicted to Bass. A Touch of Class with Around the World, or La 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 La. One of my favourite tunes from the early 2000s. Big song, big song. DJ Sammy and Yanu feat Do with Heaven. Jamiroquai with Love Philosophy. Vanessa Carlton with 1,000 Miles. The Calling with Wherever You Will Go. Was that 2002? Good on them. Avril Lavigne with Complicated. We all love a bit of Avril, that lovely bit of teen angst. Busted with What I Go to School For. They've recently celebrated a greatest hits, haven't they? Or like 20 years. But yeah, great tune from them. Westlife with World of Our Own. Blue with One Love. Gareth Gates with Any One of Us, or Stupid Mistake in brackets. And Will Young with Evergreen, which is what I believe he won Pop Idol with back in 2002. Another 20 tracks, so we're on 41. CD3 takes us to the year 2003. We kick off with Elton John and Are You Ready for Love? Room 5 featuring Oliver Cheatham with Make Love. Junior Senior with Move Your Feet. God, if you didn't hear that at the school disco for at least a decade, you were missing out. Danny Minogue, Kylie's sister, with I Begin to Wonder. Girls Aloud again with Jump, a cover of the Pointer Sisters song. Some would say the Girls Aloud one's the better version. I'll leave that up for debate. Electric Six with Danger, High Voltage. Oh, what a tune. Tattoo with All the Things You Said. Controversial group, but a banging song. Christina Aguilera with Beautiful, one of her great ballads. Justin Timberlake with Cry Me a River, that song's held up really well. The Black Eyed Peas with Shut Up, I think that was the first Black Eyed Peas song I listened to. I always have a soft spot for that one. We have Blazing Squad again with Flip Reverse. Lisa Mafia with All Over. Mystique with So Scandalous. Emma with Free Me. Shania Twain with Forever and For Always. Delta Goodrem with Born to Try. She's had a comeback recently, hasn't she? Katie Malua with The Closest Thing to Crazy. Will Young with Leave Right Now, the subject of many a meme. Westlife and Mandy, is that? I'm taking it that's a cover of the Barry Manilow version. S Club 7 with Say Goodbye, which I think was their goodbye hit at the time, back in 2003. And you have Gareth Gates with Spirit in the Sky, with special guests, the Kumars. Yes, a cover of Doctor and the... Wasn't Doctor and the Medics, was it originally? Maybe it was, I can't remember. But yeah, great song, decent cover. Another 21 tracks, so we're on 62. CD4 then, we kick off with Evanescence and Bring Me to Life. Oh, amazing song. Avril Lavigne with Skater Boy, equally... 2003 was a good year, man. Good Charlotte with Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous. The Darkness with I Believe in a Thing Called Love. Stacey Orico with Stuck. Amy Stutt with Misfit. Annie Lennox with Pavement Cracks. Dido with White Flag. Kylie Minogue with Slow, which I think really surprised people at the time, but I'd argue it's one of her better hits from that era of the early 2000s. Sugar Babes with Hole in the Head. Rachel Stevens with Sweet Dreams My LAX. Was that her first debut solo single, if memory serves? Tom Kraft with Loneliness. Fatman Scoop and Crooklyn Clan with Be Faithful. 50 Cent with In the Club. That Yo Shorty, it's your birthday. We all know that one. Blue Cantrell feat Sean Paul with Breathe. Big Brothers with Favorite Things. Lamar with Dance With You. John Mayer and No Such Thing. Stereophonics with Maybe Tomorrow. The Coral with Pass It On. REM with Bad Day. And we close off with Radiohead and They're There. So another 22 tracks. I believe that's 84. 84 tracks in total, a big album for sure. There's a lot to love in there, 2 discs dedicated to 2002, another 2 dedicated to 2003. So many big hits, so many classics, so many that I remember very, very fondly. So we will go into that in just a little bit, but let's open this on up and see what we've got inside. So you can see, just showing you the discs, they continue this gradient style. So discs 1 and 2 are more of that lighter shade of blue, and then as you go through to disc 3 and 4, it progressively becomes a darker colour. And what I like about this, disc 1 and 2 have O2 on them, just O2, because they're the years they're representing, and then disc 3 and 4 have O3. Just think that's a really nice touch, nice way to differentiate. Love it. Opening it up then, again, this is basically following the similar trajectory of the yearbooks, so you have like a little guide to what was going on in the years 2002 and 2003, which is always really nice. Gives me a bit of history now that it's 20 years ago or more. And then as you go on, you get information about the songs themselves, like where they placed in the charts, a bit of information about the acts. Again, stuff that used to be commonplace isn't commonplace anymore. I'm always a bit sad it's now been consigned to being like an extra feature that you have to pay a bit more for, but I do think it's nice having it in a sturdier case, all this information. And you've got the quiz. It's surely worth it for the quiz. Test your knowledge on 2002 and 2003. Had to do it. And of course, you get all the original singles artwork, which is really nice. All those CD singles or cassette singles we bought back in the day. But yeah, nice to see them all again packaged here. Lovely little package on the whole. So with this then, what are my thoughts? Well, 84 tracks. They've picked some belters from 2002 and 2003. Like with any Now release, they don't necessarily have the rights to every single hit track that came out in that period. There's probably some missing here. Probably some of the early 2000s hits from Madonna, that springs to mind. I know the Pet Shop Boys, my guys, had a few hits there. There's always a few artists that they're not going to have here. However, I think there's actually quite a lot of the biggest tunes from there. A lot of these I remember growing up with, so special. I always maintain with the Millennium series, I can't remember what I said with the first release, but this is just how I feel at the moment. I'm a bit confused as to why they're packaging 2 years together, because, as great as the 80s and 90s were for the yearbooks that are getting their own individual year releases, I don't see why those years can't have the same. Like, why can't 2002 have its own release? Why can't 2003 have its own release? And I don't think we've really had an answer for this. Maybe it's a cost-cutting measure for now, only have one release. Maybe they're just trying to manage that. Maybe they couldn't get enough rights to songs from 2002 to make up, one whole album, or 2003. You'll notice we haven't had an extra release for the first Millennium set. That might be coming down the line. At this point, I doubt it, because I think if you're combining 2 years into one, there's clearly not enough available material there that you want to include on an individual release, let alone an extra release. So I think the Millennium series is going to continue down this trajectory of 2 years at a time, which, you know, swings and roundabouts. But on the whole, I think this is a very stellar album, especially if you're of my generation, you remember a lot of those songs, or if you love those songs, that era in general. The special edition CD, the price ranges from between £15 and £18, depending on where you shop from. I get mine from HMV, as I normally do. There is the standard edition CD available as well. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that. That is all the same tracks, it's just in a standard cardboard case, so you're not getting the booklet, you're not getting any of that extra stuff. That retails for between, say, 10 and, what is it? I think it's between like £9 and £12, again, depending on where you shop from, but it's there. So now we'll move on to this. This is the vinyl release of Now Millennium 2002 and 2003. As always, the covers are the same, just blown up. I do love these blue tones, man. There's something really warm about them, very sleek, very nice design. Big fan of that. But of course, the main question is, what is on the track list? Now, the yearbook releases get 3 discs. These only get 2, one for each year they're representing. So let's have a gander at just what they have decided to include. So on LP1 side A, which is representing 2002, they've got Freak, A Little Less Conversation, Sound of the Underground, Overprotected, Kiss Kiss, Murder on the Dance Floor, Just Like a Pill, and Complicated. Not a bad selection there. That is 8 tracks on side A. So side B is also 2002. And we've got Feel, In My Place, Stop Crying Your Heart Out, Lazy, Dilemma, No More Drama, and A New Day Has Come. So another 7 tracks, so 15 tracks on LP1 representing 2002. Interesting selections for sure. LP2 side A, now we're into 2003, so we've got Are You Ready for Love? We have Slow, Move Your Feet, Shut Up, In the Club, Cry Me a River, Beautiful, and Leave Right Now. Definitely a better side there, if you ask me. So that's 8 tracks there. And then LP2 side B, also 2003. You've got Bring Me to Life, All the Things She Said, Danger, High Voltage, There, Bad Day, White Flag, and The Closest Thing to Crazy. So another 7 tracks, 15 total. So in total then, across 2 LPs, you have 30, a grand total of 30 tracks. I'll give my thoughts on this in just a little second, but let me show you what the discs look like. Now, just like with Now Millennium 2000 and 2001, both discs are a different colour, which is a nice deviation from the yearbooks, which are always all the same. LP1 here, this is in a lovely blue, a lovely blue hue, and LP2 is presented in this bright white. Really nice colour combination. I really do enjoy that visually. I think that looks really nice. But the main point of contention with the Millennium vinyl releases is the pricing. Now, they are priced roughly or near enough the same as the yearbooks. Now, the yearbooks, you're getting 3 discs there for around £30, £33, so about £10, £11 per disc. Here, you're getting 2 LPs for £30. That's the retail price, again, between 30 33 So it's more £15 per disc, or essentially £1 a track, because there's 15 tracks on each disc. Now, obviously, I'm a big fan of this era. That's what I grew up with. A lot of these songs hold a lot of weight to me. I definitely think LP2 for 2003 is a lot stronger than the choices for 2002. That's just my personal preference. But I have been considering going forward whether I'm going to keep up with the releases of the Millennium ones on vinyl. It's a bit of a dilemma, if you will. Forgive me, Nelly and Kelly, because you know a lot of these songs haven't had vinyl releases before. You know, a lot of those albums that they came from are either being released on vinyl now, or they still remain on CD, cassette, or digital. And to have a compilation like this of Naughty's hits, I know other Naughty's compilations on vinyl probably exist, but now tends to have a better package of what's actually included. So part of me wants to keep getting them because it has a chance to have these songs from my childhood on vinyl. But on the other hand, I'd start to question the value of these ones a bit more, particularly compared to the yearbook vinyl releases. But that's just me personally. These are available. You can get these from a variety of places, but around £30, £33 if you're interested. On the whole then, between these 2 releases, did they do a good job? With the CD, absolutely. 84 tracks, most of them absolute belters. There's only 1 or 2 that I don't remember by name, but of course I'm way more familiar with this era. It's the one I was raised in compared to the 80s, 90s, etc., even though I love those too. So I think if you're like me, the CD version is absolutely worth it. Whether you want to go standard or special edition, that's up to you. Whether you want to fork out an extra few pounds for the booklet, the track information, the singles artwork, the quiz, and and the sturdier casing. And the vinyl, you know, again, if you're like me, you want those naughty songs on vinyl, you don't have much of an alternative, then maybe it's more worth it, but definitely consider you are getting one less disc than the yearbook releases for 30 tracks, essentially £1 a track. So bear that in mind going forward. But that's all for this installment of the Now Review. Thank you very much for watching. As always, if you enjoyed it, please remember to leave a like on the video and leave your comments down below. Are you going to be picking up Now Millennium 2002, 2003? And if you are, which version are you getting? Are you going for the standard edition CD, the special edition CD, or the 2 LP vinyl? Let me know in the comments down below. Subscribe to the channel if you're brand new. We'd love to have you aboard. In the meantime, I've been Adam Martin from AMTV Now. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you next time for another spin on the turntable.